Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Industry Insights Worldwide. Today, we're joined with an awesome guest, Tim. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Oh, thank you so much for coming along today. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
Yes, my name's Tim Wolf, and I'm a music artist. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, in the U.S.
Lovely.
And I'm a singer-songwriter. I write all of my songs, or co-write, and also guitar player. And my genre is really bluesy, but I'm not strict blues. Alternative rock. In that, alternative is the best catch-all, I think, for my
Yeah,
music.
lovely. And what's the music industry like over in Nashville at the moment? How's it going over there?
Well, it's challenging. I think a friend of mine who's also a musician says it's the most difficult industry in the world. Of course, there are other industries that are difficult as well, but it
Mm,
is quite challenging. There are, 120,000 songs being uploaded to Spotify every day.
right.
Uh, and so there's the barrier. I mean, there's two good things about the current society or the current situation. The barriers to entry are eliminated
Yeah,
versus, 20 years ago, you had to have a record deal,
yes.
and the gatekeepers at the record company would control that. And those gatekeepers, there are still record companies, of course, still in existence,
Yeah,
but they aren't the gatekeepers anymore. You in your bedroom,
yeah.
you can record,
Mhm.
and the tools are available. And so many people are doing that, and that's the good thing. The bad thing is many people are doing it,
More
and
people.
there's
Yeah,
so much competition,
yeah.
so to speak, and that's why there's so many songs. And it's hard to rise up from the noise. I mean, white noise, I guess, of so much
Mm.
music, and that is the good and the bad of it, as I would say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one, Tim, for sure. And how did you get into music? Was it a hobby? Was that an education behind that? How did that happen?
Well, I've always played music. I played in church when I was younger, when I was a
Yeah,
kid, and then I started playing in bands. And I started in my 20s. I started studying guitar very seriously. I mean, every available moment, I would have my guitar around my neck practicing, and that's where I made probably my most. And I always had written songs a bit and played in different bands. And then it wasn't until 2014 when I had a business, entrepreneurial business making snack foods, and it wasn't doing that great,
yeah,
but I was focusing on trying to make it work. And my friend came into my office one day, very uncharacteristically strong-willed. He was a very soft-spoken guy, and he said, "What are you doing? You're beating your head against the wall. Why don't you shut all this down and pursue your dreams?" And I actually view that as a sign from God, and I that wasn't just the way I viewed that is that was a message I needed to follow, and I shut down my business, took steps, started taking steps that day, and it took about 9 months to completely sell everything and get it out of it, and then I've been full time with music ever since.
well done. And that's not even
That
easy
was
to do full
that
time, is it? So
Yes,
well
that
done.
was 2014, fall of 2014, so 2015. So
Mm,
10 years, I guess. So I guess, yeah, it's 10 years.
well done. That's lovely to hear, actually. And it's nice to hear a success story because there's so many stories that don't succeed, unfortunately, as you would know. So, yeah, well done.
Yes.
Hats off to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And
Thank
what
you.
kind of challenges and barriers do you face in the music industry? And obviously, you've been in it for quite a while now.
Well, it's hard because when you're a musician now,
Mm,
you just don't make music. You just don't write music and record it. You have to be a quote unquote influencer. You have to make content, and you have to be on TikTok and or the equivalent shorts, reels. That's where music discovery happens. Those vertical small clips, short clips, I guess. And there's a component to that traditionally musicians didn't have to do.
right.
And so you have to promote your music. And anyone who says, in fact, I was just on a call just before I got on with you. I'm on a group that we have weekly calls, and we other musicians talk about this. And one of the other people said it's that they had friends telling them, if your music is good enough, you don't have to promote it. Just put it out there, and people will find it. And that is complete
Nonsense.
BS, because in be talking about the 120,000 being uploaded,
Yeah.
you have to do things to promote it, whether that's paying some advertising, which record companies definitely do.
Yeah.
They have promotion budgets,
Marketing.
and and you definitely have to do the organic. You have to do the videos,
Yeah.
and if you're fortunate and you do really well, you can go viral on TikTok or YouTube, or TikTok's probably the one that is the easiest to go viral on.
Noticed a lot of artists using that now.
Yeah, and YouTube as well. Meta platforms, Facebook and Instagram, discovery is quite low, the discovery rate.
Yeah.
So so if you get into them, and I certainly haven't figured it out. I haven't gone viral on any of them, but
Right.
I keep trying, keep going, because you never know. I've read so many articles on what makes it go viral, and I don't think you can really. It's really surprising. You can't predict it. You can't say, okay, today I'm going to make a viral video. You
Everyone's
can't.
doing that otherwise, right? I think it's the algorithm as well. Something to do with the algorithm, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. And the algorithm, of course, is secret, and they're changing it all the time as well. What
Yeah.
worked last month may not be working this month,
Right. I
so
think that's some good advice actually. And if you could give some advice to someone who's starting out now, who wants to pursue a career like you do yourself, what kind of advice would you give them?
well, realize it's a long haul.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it because you love it, you're starting behind you're behind the eight ball. I mean, you do it because you can't imagine doing anything else. I feel that has to be the number one thing. And if you're just doing it because you want to be famous, or you like what it feels like, what you see someone who is successful,
Yeah.
maybe your favorite, maybe you're Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift, you're like, man, I want to be like them. That's not the right motivation. You have to do it because you can't imagine doing anything else.
Absolutely.
That's the start. And then if you have that, you can't allow yourself to quit. And I admit, in these last 10 years, there have been numerous times that I've been so discouraged that I thought about quitting. And to the point where I even started, I have a lot of gear
Mm.
in my studio here. And like, okay, what's the best way for me to sell all my gear? Start doing this thought process. And then, after about a half hour of that and feeling sorry for myself, I would like,
Yeah, we all
but what
get
are you going to do?
that's how I
What
feel.
will you do?
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing anything other than music.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, shut this nonsense down. We are not selling the gear.
Well
So,
done.
and I think it's common. Many indie musicians go through that. It's trying, you get rejected, you get hate comments on social media. You get, you're trying to book a show, and you get, the booking agent doesn't even return your calls or emails. I mean, so many. You have to have a thick skin,
Yes.
and I think it's true, not just music. I mean, I couldn't, I've read articles about people who are actors and go to 100 auditions and don't get any callbacks. I mean, the discouragement is real. I mean, when you're in the arts, but you have to love it, and you have to have that drive.
Yes.
That's all I can say. If
Never
you
take
have that, you'll find a way.
Yeah, and never take things personally either, because I think that helps,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. That's great. Yeah, that's probably very important. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. You're in Songwriting Central, Nashville. Tell us a little bit more about that. And I'm sure there's loads of networking that you do and getting out there and meeting new people, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of people here, a lot of songwriting, a lot of writers' rounds
Yes.
and open mic nights where you can go and meet other songwriters. And my buddy, we had a gig in a place in Nashville, and my buddy was there, and the bartender afterwards kind of took a shine to him and was started talking to him. He's married, but he wasn't wearing his wedding ring because he doesn't wear it when he performs. And she started kind of, hey, I'm a songwriter too. And he goes, of course you are. Everyone in Nashville is a
Yeah.
songwriter. I mean, that's sarcasm a little bit, but it's not far from the truth. There are many, many people, just like they say in LA, everyone is a, aspiring actor. A little bit of exaggeration, I suppose. So there are many songwriters, and if you can co-write, and it is a co-writing town, there's no doubt about it. And so opportunities to do writers' rounds and those sort of things are very high, and that's
Brilliant.
very good.
Yeah.
Get some experience with that.
And how's collaboration helped you to get to where you are right now and working with other people?
Sorry, so the collaboration, and then
Collaboration and partnerships and working with others, has that helped you progress your career as well?
to some extent, I mean, there are a lot of opportunities for that, but you have to find people. In fact, I'm doing a reels right now that I'm going to be posting probably later today because I had a co-write session with my good friend last night, and we were talking about this. And the old saying is, it's not what you know, it's what who you know. And he said, no, that's not the whole story.
Okay,
It's who you know that wants you to succeed.
that's a good one. Yes, yes.
Because it's not who you know, it's who you know that wants you to succeed. Because he's been here longer than I have. And he said there's so many people that he's met and he thought they were friends.
Mm,
And he asked them for advice or asked them for, can you give me a recommendation or whatever it would be that you would, collaborate. And he's been shut down so many times that he has a bit of a bitterness about it, that there's so many people that are not willing to help.
absolutely.
And, but on the other hand, I want to emphasize I know people that are at high level that are like Grammy Award winning, Billboard #1 charting people that are so giving
That's
with
nice.
their advice and their help
Yeah.
and their giving a hand. And like I'll say, should I text this person? They're so busy. And you text them and they text you back in 15 minutes. And I'm like, why?
Oh,
Why are you helping me? I mean, I don't deserve it. I mean,
very
there's
nice.
such a high level. You're like, why are you? So there are those people. There's no doubt. And you need to, find those people that will help you. So there's both sides, I
Yeah,
guess.
100%. I think I've learned from what you're saying as well. I think I've walked into rooms and I thought people were my friends. Sometimes they end up copying your music. And
Yeah, ripping off your riff
yeah,
or your your phrase or whatever you might brought.
yes, I think trust is a massive part of it too, right? Building those meaningful, trusting relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Thank you for sharing. And what would you like to see improve in the music industry in the next few years?
What would I like to see to improve?
Yeah,
Well, I would like to see, an opportunity for musicians to make a living wage, and, a lot of people decry streaming.
yeah.
I'm not really, I think it's more complicated than that. I
Okay.
mean, streaming kind of saved the recorded music industry.
From the file sharing, it certainly did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you talk about around 2000 with now I've forgotten the name of the company that did that, the site. You could do all the file sharing.
Yeah,
And the music industry, recorded music industry revenue was in the toilet. It was horrible.
yeah,
And streaming, Spotify, really saved the music industry. And people are complaining that they don't pay enough. Spotify I think pays point 0.3 cents if
yeah,
you own everything
yeah,
per stream.
yeah.
But on the other hand, the I'm going off top, not really answering your question. My apologies, but the Spotify does the Spotify Unwrapped,
Yeah.
and they talk about they paid, I think it was last year, they paid at least $16,500 to 50,000 people.
Mhm.
And so if you multiply that they do about one third they have about one third of the market. And so if you had the same amount of streaming in all platforms, you multiply that number times three, and other platforms pay more than Spotify. Like Apple pays almost double. So if you just try to do an equilibration and you multiply that times three, that's like $50,000 a year from streaming. 50,000 people making $50,000 a year. And back in the day when there was Tower Records and that sort of thing, how many artists were in Tower Records?
Right.
Not 50,000. I would say maybe 2,000, three
Yeah,
thousand. So
yeah,
there's at least 10 times. I mean, 50,000, is that a livable wage? I mean, that could be debated, but let's say it is. Let's say you could survive on that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
couldn't make that back in the days with the record because you wouldn't have access. How would you sell your stuff? You couldn't sell it in Tower Records or the equivalent because they only had so much space and you were only going to get in there if you had a record deal. And so if you think about it that way, streaming really has done a lot for artists. I mean, I'm not saying they're perfect, but it's still really hard to make a living wage. And I'm most concerned about live venues closing down. I read an article, so many closed down in the UK.
Yes.
And this is very worrisome. That's the biggest thing. We need those small venues.
Yes.
And I believe that, as AI takes over, people live is going to be so important. It's counterproductive. You can have AI music, but people want real authentic human connection.
Yes, absolutely. And what you
And
said,
one, I'm getting a little passionate. So, one example that I heard was, the chess AI,
hmm
chess, the game of chess.
yes,
It was like 25 years ago or so, AI was able to defeat the grandmaster, and he
oh,
retired after that. He was a Russian guy.
yeah,
He was so decimated or devastated that he retired. Well, in the last 25 years, AI has only gotten so much better.
hmm
So why are human beings even playing chess? But the fact is, spectator views of championship matches is at an all-time high.
yeah, okay,
AI still exists, and
right.
AI can defeat any one of them. But people don't want to see that. People want to see people playing each other.
Yeah, it's
And
competition.
so if you apply that to music,
Yeah,
I do believe that people are going to see real live music. And I think and I'm not the only one saying this, their experts are saying in 10 years, live music is going to be so important and people are going to pay a lot to go see it at all levels,
yeah,
not just
yeah.
the Taylor Swift level, but also
I
the
love that.
small venues.
I think that's
People are,
really important. I think that's so important what you touched on.
so in the meantime, we can't let all our venues collapse because we're going to need them.
hmm That's our talent pipeline at the end of the day, and it's helping all those emerging artists come through as well.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
merchandise as well on top of that. So that's really how artists make their money. A lot of them now, and like you said with the Spotify, 80% of that money as well goes to the major labels. Still does. So they still do have some control. But I think
They
when
do.
it's the independent artists that are not signed to a label, making money off the streaming platforms is extremely, extremely difficult.
It is. There's no doubt. Yes.
Yeah. And do you think cultural and age differences have had an impact on music, the music industry, and how far we've progressed?
Yes, I do. I decry the fact that most of the streaming and even the major labels are focusing on legacy
Yes.
and all this money that's spent on the legacy. And as I'm putting new music out, I'm competing. The majority of the streams are music that was recorded a long time ago,
Mhm.
classic rock or whatever, whatever genre. And that is hard to compete with. Um, and there needs to be a recognition and a willingness to take on and listen to and appreciate new music, not just music that was recorded 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Actually, I think you can draw inspiration from it, but it makes it a lot harder. And I think the catalogs sales have actually done better than a lot of the new release stuff, right?
100%. Yeah,
Mm.
very, very high percentage. I think that was, and all the record labels, not all. I don't want to. There's a trend amongst record labels to emphasize catalog
Yeah.
over new artists.
And do you
You
think that's
know
to do with the contracts there and the lifetime contracts and stuff like that?
that, yeah,
Yeah.
that, yeah, all of that, yeah.
Interesting. See, I always learn stuff on these podcasts. Thank you so much. And obviously, the music industry is very fast paced, it is competitive. You have to get out there, you have to do all these bits and pieces. Does that affect your mental health and how you feel about yourself and how you see the world?
Oh, are you kidding? Yes, mental health is the biggest battle. In fact, again, it's coincidental. The call I just came off with we were talking about imposter syndrome
Yes.
and how there were about 10 of us artists on the call,
Okay.
and most of the people attending the Zoom chipped in and talked about revealing vulnerable things,
Yes.
and I did as well. How we all struggle, every one of us struggle in our own way
Yes.
with, imposter syndrome and feeling, I'm not good enough. And in this day and age of, you get your media feed and it's what you're only seeing the videos, the curated videos of the perfect take and the perfect, video that was taken.
Yeah.
It's not their everyday life.
Right.
But we compare our everyday life with that idealized version, and it's a rabbit hole to fall down. And yeah, mental health is a big issue to
Yes.
maintain that mental health, and it's a struggle, and there needs to be ways of maintaining it and talking about it. Having other people that support you, other musicians going through the same thing is a supportive way. And yeah, mental health is definitely a big one. I'd say it's one of the top ones, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a little drop in every week, and it's people from the music industry. So we all talk about those specific issues in music because I think it's great to chat with your family, but when they're not in the industry, they don't understand the challenges of the industry itself.
100%.
having those people around is great. And you've also touched on AI, which is really interesting because that's a very big topic as well at the moment. What's your thoughts and feelings around AI?
Well, it's
Comfy.
I do not like the fact that AI is allowed to be trained on copyrighted material.
Yeah.
And this is a big issue in the US. And I can't profess to say that I'm completely up to speed on all the latest doings on it. But I recently became a Recording Academy Grammy voting member. And
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm very proud of that, and I really want. And they ask you, what are you interested in? Because the Academy does a lot of things, and advocacy is one of them. And I check the box. I'm interested in advocacy, and there's coming up. I think in about a month, there's an advocacy day where we have the opportunity to meet everyone who's a member in each state can meet with our legislature to advocate for. And one of the major issues they talked about was legislation around this AI.
Yeah.
And if we allow AI, I mean, can AI be copyrighted? AI generated works, can they be copyrighted? And can they be trained on copyrighted works with no repercussions? These are major issues.
Yeah, they are major issues.
And I hope that they fall on the side of recognizing human-made art and protecting that. Because if it doesn't, and I do have a bone to pick with Spotify. I mean, they are running a business, so I understand, and they don't have to pay money to AI generated. And there's reports. I mean, it's kind of obscure, but there are a number of streams right now that are AI tracks, complete, no human being involved.
Fully AI tracked. But
Yes.
I've noticed Spotify are starting to take those down now and demonetizing them, which is quite a promising move.
Yeah, I did hear that. Like I said, I'm not 100% on the absolute latest on that. I've just seen some of the headlines, and so I wouldn't profess to know the
Yeah.
absolute latest move, but I know that there were some, and you probably are more up to date on it than I am.
I
But
totally agree actually with what you say. I think, there is some benefits to AI, but it's how it's used and also
yes,
protecting the copyright of artists and creators.
absolutely, I agree.
I think is
Yes.
the main part of that. So yeah, good luck. Hope it goes
Okay.
well and keep pushing the legislators to make some, legislation that protects us all. Because I think that's what we
Right.
need in music. There's enough people taking the money from the artist's pocket already, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is there any major wins and successes, Tim, you would like to share with us throughout your
Well, the main win that this year, I do count two that I would say. The one becoming a Grammy voting member, that was a big deal for me, and I'm very, very, honored to be in the membership, and I don't take it lightly, and I want to do my small part. I mean, there are thousands of members, so I'm just one,
yeah.
tens of thousands, I think, and but I don't want to just be someone who has it and doesn't do anything. I want to be active and help support the music community, and I hope that I will earn the right to have that position. And another win that I had in June, my recent album charted on the Billboard charts, the Billboard Blues charts.
Oh,
So,
awesome. There you go.
and thank you. Thank you. That was a humongous win for me. And charted number 11 on the Billboard Blues charts, born in South Dakota. And so I am just very gratified
Yeah.
for all the people that listened to my music and made that happen. I thank them for that.
Oh, big up. So well done to that one. And how important has advocacy been? Because I know you've touched on this, and it's something that's always been close to my heart. And I think a lot of artists now do have causes and do want to be an advocate for something. How important has that been for you in your career?
Well, I have to admit, I haven't really done much of it yet, and I'm really hoping that doing the advocacy for, because I didn't feel I had a platform. I mean, I felt like who's going to listen to me? But now that the platform, the Recording Academy, I want to take that very seriously and do a lot of efforts behind that. And so, although I can't point to much that I've done in the past, in the future, if we have a call in a year or two, I hope that I can point to some major actions that I've done, and that's my plan.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And if the listeners want to find out more, they want to find your music, connect with you on social media or reach out, how could they do that, Tim?
Well, my website is www.thetimwolf.com, and that has all my links. So it's WOLF is spelling is just four letters in the last word, Tim Wolf. And my Instagram is the Tim Wolf, and my Facebook is the Tim Wolf Music, and Spotify is just Tim Wolf, and so and I'm on other platforms, YouTube as well as the Tim Wolf. So that's, but you could go to my website and that has all the links. So thetimwolf.com.
I'll leave that in the description below for the listeners as well. So when they're listening,
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you ever so much again. It's
Thank
been
you.
great talking to you. I've learned so much, and keep up the amazing work.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.